Are you one of the many people who struggle to find purpose and their place in the world? Do you feel pressure to create a meaningful identity? Is your need to create an identity a source of distress, anxiety, and depression? Now, the very first verse in the Bible shows us that we don't need to struggle to create an identity. This one verse, Genesis 1:1, explains why we already have significance, meaning, purpose, and an identity. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Let's take a close look at this verse, Genesis 1:1, to see why it is the answer to significance, purpose, meaning, and identity. First, a little background. The verb used in Genesis 1:1, translated as create, means to bring into existence something entirely new that has never existed before. And the phrase heavens and the earth means the entirety of everything, not just the earth and not just heaven. The Bible begins with this simple but profound statement of creation ex nihilo, creation out of nothing. Even though Genesis is part of the Hebrew Pentateuch and was written around 1400 years before Christ, Christianity depends on Genesis 1:1 and the triune God creating the universe out of nothing. So, how does this verse give us an identity? Well, the theme of this video is that our intrinsic worth and our given identity depends on a theistic God creating all matter, time, and energy out of nothing. And here's why. To understand our place in the universe and to know who we are, we need to know what the ultimate reality is. If the ultimate reality is a God who created us, who created a place for us to live, and who promises us that we can live with him forever, then this ultimate reality automatically provides us with meaning, purpose, and value, all of which are bestowed on us from outside ourselves. However, if the ultimate reality is only the material universe, matter and energy, then any meaning and purpose must come from us, from within ourselves. If our meaning comes from within ourselves, then when we are gone, that meaning will be gone also. Every human created meaning will ultimately be meaningless, because eventually all humans will be gone, the universe will end in heat death, and nothing we did will ultimately matter. But with God as the ultimate reality, everything we do matters, and everything we do matters for eternity. Now, there are only two kinds of things that can exist: necessary things and contingent things. Necessary things exist on their own with no explanation. They simply must exist. Contingent things, however, depend on something else for their existence. The God of the Bible is a necessary being, while everything else is contingent and therefore dependent on God for existence. This sets the Christian doctrine of creation ex nihilo, creation out of nothing, in complete opposition to any other interpretation of the universe, both modern and ancient. Babylonian, Canaanite, Egyptian, Greek, and Roman polytheism all describe their gods as creating from some already existing matter, and even the gods themselves being created from some already existing material. These gods didn't create the universe and are therefore contingent. They were created from the universe. In addition, these ancient creation stories usually describe the gods as subsequently making humanity as their slaves, meaning humans were meant to do all the work, and then that would allow the gods to live a life of leisure. So interpretations of the universe that don't include Genesis 1:1 either make the material world into a god or have the god or gods coming from some pre-existing material. These interpretations make matter and energy necessary and essentially make the material world into a god. This is very similar to the materialism and naturalism of today, which, if true, means that anything we think is meaningful is really only temporary and subjective. We strive to make our lives meaningful, but if naturalism is true, if the universe wasn't created by an eternal entity outside of the universe, then objective eternal meaning is impossible. Every accomplishment, every hope, every dream, everything you've ever done will end up being meaningless. Philosophical naturalism and the view that humanity evolved from pre-existing matter without any necessary being behind it all is ultimately without hope. Genesis 1:1 provides the basis for us to know that we all have intrinsic meaning, purpose, and an identity given to us by the creator of the universe. And that's the subject of the next video.